Welcome to the Digital Monkey Show. On this week's episode, we'll be talking about firing clients, picking and choosing the right clients you want to work with. We also talk about copying other brands and how this could lead to your ideal brand. And lastly, we talk about you've got value to give. You know a lot more than you think. Now, these are pretty heavy hitters this week. It's going to be a doozy. Young Jay, cue the music. I struggled a little bit with that introduction, didn't I? So I'm your host, Phuong Tran, and you got my younger brother sitting across from me, albeit a little bit taller, just a tad. How are you doing today?
You butchered that intro, man. You butchered that script I wrote for you, bro. What the hell?
Yeah, I am so bad. I am so bad at following script, and this is like whenever we do talking heads and we have teleprompters, I butcher it all the time. I tend to go off script quite a bit.
Oh my God, what am I going to do with you? Anyways, you forgot to mention the more handsomer young brother as well.
I purposely omitted that. What are you on about? Handsome? The older brother's always got the best look.
That's right, man. Look, it's been I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's been a busy time in the AM office. Especially after tax time, a lot of people want to get back into doing some marketing material, some videos for their business. So yeah, we're quite busy. However, we obviously are not slacking off on our own content, and we are shooting the podcast as per usual because it's just easier to maintain rather than pick it back up in the future, right?
That's right. It's always harder to start anything, really. Once
Correct.
you start, though, it needs to keep
That's
going.
right. That's right. As soon as you got the ball rolling, just keep going with it, man.
It's kind of why I have this gut hanging out.
Hey. All right, man. What's the first topic for today?
All right, this one's a heavy hitter, I reckon. So I want to know firing clients. You always hear about like firing employees or letting go of somebody, but you never really hear about firing clients. Like, who does that? They are paying your money. They're paying your wage. Why would you ever fire someone that is willing to pay you? Shouldn't you be selling your soul to cater for that person?
Yeah, it's a good one actually. I actually quite like this topic because this topic actually came about because we've recently mutually parted ways with a client of ours, which we weren't, I'd say, too happy with working with because we just didn't feel like they were the right fit for us.
Yeah.
And in terms of selling your soul to work with a client, I think that yes, at first a lot of people do this when they're first starting their business, obviously because they just want clients, right? They just want leads, they want business, they want work.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the more you work in your business, you kind of figure out what you like to work or who you like to work with, what type of people, and also what type of people your team likes to work with. And in saying that, yes, it's definitely okay to fire clients when you think that they're not the right fit for you. So, for example, when I say the right fit, I mean that they could either. I actually have an article here. Actually, I don't know what I'm not referring to, but when should you fire clients? So, number one, they say here is if they're abusive, basically, if they're abusing you, they're not treating you well, you don't really want the headache, right? Number two, if they're being dishonest. Number three, if they're being unreasonably demanding. Number four, if they're paying slow, we really don't enjoy this because we have mouths to feed as well.
My God.
And by paying slow, I mean like a month after, like a couple months after the job has been done. I provide you the service. I expect you to pay me what I'm due, what you owe me, right?
It definitely sours the relationship. Like, especially the last one. Like, even you have to have integrity in business. Like, it's all about business is all about networking. It's more personal than people like to make it out to be for people who haven't been in businesses before. It's a lot of it. It's just like friendship, but in a more transfer value providing sort of way, right?
And in this article, it's number 5. They said if they're constantly nitpicking, which is the same thing as obviously if they have unreasonable demands, and lastly, if they're, I guess, playing you against their competitors. So if they're, I guess, coming to you and asking for a price and saying, hey, look, your competitor's doing it for cheaper, then they take that price, they go back to the competitor and say, hey, these guys are doing cheaper, and then they keep going bouncing back and forth. I'm not going to lie.
Isn't that part of negotiation, though?
Yeah, but there's, like, you do it once, not 3, 4, 5. I'm not gonna lie. I've actually done this with my old chicken shop. I went to a new supplier and I'm like, hey, look, these guys are doing this price, and then I took that price and went back to my old supplier.
Look, I think that's a bit different when you come into like commodity shops like that, because it's different. And where is that noise coming from?
That's right.
But look, anyway, so I was gonna say that's more a customer based in a business, where there's business to business is more client based, right? Like it's a lot more interpersonal. So I wouldn't do that kind of thing. It sells the relationship, and you don't want to be working with that person ever again.
That's true, because in a service-based industry like our own, like we work with a lot of people who really want personalized projects, and so we really have to get to know them and get to know the business. And if you were to, I guess, put two different competitors against each other, you're not really building a proper relationship. Like you wouldn't go to your best friend and say, "Hey, look, can you do this for me?" But this guy's doing it, for cheaper or for whatever. It's just
like,
not on.
Fair enough if you've developed a long-term relationship with that particular business, then maybe you can ask for a little bit of a discount, a little bit of like, hey, help me out a little bit here, but not on the get-go. If you've just started out a relationship with a business, like don't argue the price. Don't argue the price. Like you obviously know that their price is their price, so just pay it.
Yeah, but a lot of people want to get a discount, right?
Sure.
Especially when
again, it depends. It's very I reckon discretionary. Like for example, you're the salesperson, right? Like if you like that person, you're more likely to give them.
Of course, if I want to work with them, yeah, of course.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, so I was going to mention that, look, the reasons why you'd want to fire a client is if they're, I guess, causing you too much headaches amongst yourself as a business owner and also your team. So say you're working on a project, but you know that your team members, who are obviously the people that you work with, or your people for your business, are the lifeblood of your business, right? If you don't have those right people in place, you don't really have a business. So in saying that, sometimes you do have to bite the bullet and actually fire a client because the team don't actually enjoy working with a certain individual, even though you may, obviously, as a business owner, you want to be making money, but sometimes it's just not right to get your team members to work on a certain project if you know yourself that the client is not a right fit for the whole team. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Now I have a question for you, right? So, how do you fire a client?
Yeah, this is.
So let's say
I remember
how, when, and like just really how do you do it? Because it's a question that I have like as a freelancer before. I've always ever said yes because someone's paying my bill.
Correct.
Right? I have no choice but to bite the bullet and do the job and sell my soul, stress out so that I can get paid to eat. Right.
So I think we've already touched up on in terms of like when we fire a client. Because we've mentioned it earlier, but how you fire a client, I found this actually pretty interesting.
When I say when, I mean like in what time frame? Like how long do you last before you're like, this is it, I'm done with this?
You'll very quickly realize if a person or a client that you're working with makes you really unhappy, or every time you see them calling you, you get stressed out, or you don't enjoy the conversations that you have with them. You'll realize it, man. Obviously, all clients, there's a friction point between all the work that we do, and it's just a matter of like how much our threshold is. Obviously, I think that the bigger the budget, the more higher our threshold is.
Oh yeah,
that's
sure.
for sure. But if they're penny pinchers and they expect everything, and they want all these different animations and all this work to be done to the video, obviously it's not worth our headaches, right? I mean, do you
have any personal red flags that you tend to look for?
It's more so the personality. I think a good client, when you find a good client, you obviously want to keep them. And a good client is one that obviously pays on time. The good client is one that gives you a proper brief of the job.
Proper brief is huge, especially as an editor, because this is what I deal with. If I don't have a proper brief and then we do the job, we're like, okay, so we have free reign, so we pick the one aspect of it and we go all in. And a lot of the time that might not be the thing that they want to do. And obviously that's going to cause us to go back to the drawing board, extra time, extra money, extra, have to pay some more for that, for the work.
So a lot of something that Jerome, our producer, says a lot is, he really enjoys the planning part of shoots. He really enjoys the, pre-production side, because once you get that done, the shooting days is just a breeze, right? You know what you're doing, you know what you're getting, you know what shots you want. And when the client comes back to you on the day, this is another experience that we've had recently, when they come back to you on the day and they want to scrap the whole plan, and they tell you, I want something else, or I want this instead, and they play it off as it's nothing.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing right now because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it makes it hard on everyone. The whole team starts to struggle, and because we want to do a good job for the client, right? But then if they're gonna change it on the last minute, and because obviously they think that it's just point and shoot, and that's how videographies work. Or the
Unfortunately,
film.
unfortunately, yeah.
It's not the case. But look, when you find a client is obviously when you feel that there's too much friction between the client and yourself and your team. You feel that your team morale is going down with the client, and you obviously don't want to put them through hell again if they were to do the same project for that client. And look, sometimes it's okay to just to say, hey, look, I don't think this is the right fit. And this is what I've done with some other clients that we've had. And unfortunately, I came to the point where I thought that the team wasn't wasn't comfortable with that certain client, and the budget that they were asking for just wasn't realistic. And unfortunately, I had to bite the bullet and say, hey, look, we're not the right fit. And look, you don't want to you want to play off as professional. You don't want to be childish about it. You don't want to. And what that does is you say to them in a professional manner on email or whatever that, hey, look, this is not the right fit. We appreciate your time in considering us. However, we think that it's best if we go our separate ways. And
there's no right way to do this as well. Like, think about, if you really think about personal stuff like a breakup, when you do it, you just do it. It's just every single time it's just gonna be inconvenient.
Correct.
Right.
And yeah, man, I know it's an uncomfortable situation. I know it's not something you want to do because obviously you're cutting your income a bit, right? But at the same time, it's not worth...
put a price. The thing is, you can't put a price on peace of mind.
Yeah, correct. You can't put a price on mental health as well, and your team's mental health. So again, like I say, your team should be the forefront of your business. They're the lifeline of your business. If you don't have them, you don't have a business. So consider that if you do have a difficult client and that you're looking or you're thinking about firing them, sometimes it's the best thing to do. Yes, I'm going to admit I did ponder over firing the client after I've done it, because I know that we've lost a chunk of our income. But at the same time, the peace of mind that I got post firing them is
pretty good.
Invaluable. Not invaluable. What's the word? Invaluable. Yep. There you go.
Now, I gotta say, I got to add to that as well. You'll probably hear me on this spout this a lot of time on these podcasts, but self-awareness. It's a lot to do, like the understanding when it's enough, when you're too stressed, when it's affecting your environment or your staff, or even you take this home as well. Like if you're a business owner, you take this home. So you need to really sit down and have a think about like what it is affecting you before you make the call. And if you don't know yourself, if you don't have self-awareness, it's gonna be very hard to break up or fire the client. And this is why I asked you, like, how do you do it and when do you do it? And
you're right. Look, it is very personal and definitely a topic that I'd like to touch upon in future episodes about how being a business owner, it's not just about being a business owner, but it's your life, it's your livelihood.
I call it an art. It's very much an art.
But you take the work home. It's not 9 to 5, right? You take it home with you. People don't realize that. They think, oh, business, I own a business, I'm an entrepreneur. There's a lot that goes involved with it. Yeah. Like it really messes with your mind sometimes. And I'm not going to touch up
popular culture likes to show off the good side of entrepreneurship, and they don't really show all the grinding that you have to go through to get to a certain point. But yeah.
All right.
So, ready to move on?
Let's move on to the next topic.
Now, this is also very personal to us, guys. Copying other brands and how this could lead to your ideal brand. Okay, now you can look at this in two ways. Okay. Now, you see our Rode microphones here. You like the color, the gold, the black.
Oh, the gold and black looks amazing.
Isn't it? Well, check out our Instagram.
Gold, black, and white. Oh, maybe we copied Rode.
This is what Jerome, please. This is what you've been telling us from the get-go, right, mate?
Absolutely. As soon as I saw our style guide, I was like, that's just Rode microphones.
Correct. But it's funny how just white and black and gold just go together, isn't it?
It spells premium though. It does spell premium.
Correct.
It's just it's not like we intentionally copied Rode. sorry, Rode. I love your gear, by the way. We buy all your shit. Sorry.
I want to ask here, and this be 100,000% honest. Where did we get our brand inspiration from?
We literally just sat, both of us, all three of us sat on this very table and we talked about it, didn't we?
It evolved. No, you've obviously you had AM Visuals was initially Atelier Media. It had its own brand, the white and black.
Actually, no. The history of this company actually comes from a farm.
Yeah, a farm.
The idea was a flower farm, for God's sake.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that our brand we didn't just say, hey, look, bloody, this is what it's gonna be like from here on. We didn't look at anyone else's social media page and be like, hey, look, we love those colors, and that's what we do. Let's just take
mine.
it. Correct. So just some history with our brand. So it came from Atelier Media. It had the black and white already. This is a rant, by the way. And I saw this other guy's the way he captioned his stuff on YouTube, which is he used this off yellow kind of goldish color. Like, hey, look, that's a pretty cool color. Why don't we add that into our color scheme? And that's how our current brand guide looks. This is what it is. And
well, I'm gonna attribute the gold to Jay, because he's the one that put it on. We tried gray. We tried blue. We even tried blue. Remember, baby blue.
Did we?
Yeah, we tried baby blue for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that was our website designer that put it on, and we were
oh, right, yeah, I do remember
dark
that.
green as well. We tried that, and that didn't really fit with our brand.
Yeah. But look, where we're going with this and how this topic came about is, I guess we've recently been accused of copying someone else's brand, which is quite amusing to me to think that we've actually thought about copying any. Well, yes and no, we find inspiration from other people and other brands, but we don't go about just copying someone else's brand, right? We don't go out there and say, hey, look, we want.
At least we didn't. I know that for sure.
No, we didn't. But what I'm trying to say with this topic is that although we're saying this, look, it's okay to copy other people's brands, right? That's how you find yourself, right? That's how you, obviously, if something is successful with another business or someone else is doing something that's really successful, you obviously want to copy it.
Yeah.
And
it's like a classic example. Like you've seen TikTok come out. Everybody was shitting on it when it first came out. But look, Instagram's jumping on the bandwagon. YouTube's jumping on the bandwagon. Facebook even tried all that stuff out. So at a high level, businesses copy each other all the time.
it's what it is.
Yeah.
It
If it
should be
works, then
changed
yeah.
from business to imitation game.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Good,
Yeah.
good book, by the way.
Is that a book?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
But you know that the movie?
Oh, I know the movie.
But it's a book.
Oh, there you go.
But anyway, so coming back to the story, it's like imitations happen all the time. Look at the music industry. They're suing each other left, right, and center.
Yeah?
Because like people are sampling each other's music. Like the hip hop industry, R&B industry, hip hop and R&B, sorry, is famous for that. Just that's the basis of their music. They're sampling like old school music,
Yeah.
adding some beat to it, and creating a beat.
The way I like to see it is that, look, everything we're now obviously in the 21st century, and everything that's important and of relevance has been done, right? Everything has been done. The only thing you're doing is you're basically doing the same thing, hence copying,
Yeah.
and then putting a spin on it, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to be just copying and being the same as everyone else, you're just going to you're going to be perceived as everyone else, and you're not going to stand out.
I mean, look
right?
at us web videographers. What,
Correct.
You hate that web, but like we started off as videographers.
Cinematographers.
Whatever.
That's what we are.
The
Okay.
videographers, whatever.
We're a production.
Hundreds of people, like thousands of people are doing it too. Like they're all doing the same thing. Everybody has like media or visual or
Correct.
pictures behind their names.
Yeah.
Like it's how you're going to
Show.
execute, right?
Yeah.
You need to figure out a way to execute your brand to define it to become its own thing, basically, right?
So let's just get back to the question. I mean, copying other brands and also make that, which could lead to eventually your own brand. With the way I see it is that, yes, it's okay to copy, but put your spin on it. Put your own spin on it, right? Don't just copy for sake of copying. I mean, we didn't copy anyone. I'm just saying, I just have to keep going back to this, but we didn't.
Execute. It's the way we executed it, really.
No,
No. Not in this particular example that you're thinking about. But I'm saying, like, if you're gonna be copying somebody, like, yeah, hundreds of people have done that before you. But like, if you're gonna take an idea, figure out what this idea means to you.
Right.
Like, what does it mean? Like, what is your creative flair to this particular brand?
And
right?
and a good example of this is, again, we've mentioned this in the very first episode, is our friend from Mayday Media. He's David Miller. He's a amazing videographer for real estate, luxury real estates. So he's niched down in that space, and what he's done is he's put his own creative flair to it. He's somehow figured out how to incorporate music, so sound and also video together, and he does it in an artistic manner, which is what makes him stand out.
I have to quote him. Do it in a tasteful way.
Tasteful.
He's tasteful. Like,
Tasty videos. Tasty. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if real estate videography has been around for ages, right? But what makes him stand out is his style, his editing techniques, the way he sees things, the way he spends his time shooting things, right?
Yeah.
That's what differentiates you. And to say that your business doesn't copy anyone is honestly bullshit, right?
It is, yeah.
It's bullshit. Like, you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't think that there was a market for it, right? And honestly, you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't see anyone else doing it.
Yeah, it's that saying, don't reinvent the wheel.
Correct.
Yeah.
Don't reinvent it. You mentioned something earlier about some kind of stimulation.
It's called simultaneous discovery, and this
Yep.
happens all the time in science. You're looking like famous scientific finds, like what was it, Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, the light bulb or something like that. But both of them created at the same time, and then they sued each other for it.
Isn't that funny how
Yeah.
like just things just happen in the universe at the same time?
Because look, the way it works is like let's say for business sake, because we talk about business all the time, it's like the business is ready for it. The technology is there, right? And multiple people who are in the industry are gonna start like thinking, oh, I can put this together and make this wonderful new thing that I can sell to people. But he's not the only one to think about this stuff. Like, someone else is doing it too. It's basically the first person who is going to patent it, who will be able to say like, hey, this is my idea. You can't take it. Even though that guy's probably like 80% of the way there, and he's spent like years like trying to make the same idea as well. You know?
Another example that I actually came up with while you were mentioning that was, let's say, the electric car made by Tesla. Is it just not another 4-wheel vehicle with 5 doors and a steering wheel?
It's a piece of tech.
Isn't that another car?
It's a car.
But what I'm trying to say is that he copied the car and just made it better in what the market.
No. He actually, like, if you know the history of Tesla, he actually took an idea of a guy. Like, he bought into a business and then basically overtook that business and kicked the original person out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, read the biography. It's fascinating.
Well, to be honest, actually, I've listened to it. Maybe I must have skipped through that part.
So
but anyways.
Tesla, the idea of the EV was stolen.
Oh,
Well, in a very anecdotal way, I suppose.
Right.
It's stolen.
and that guy must be spewing, whoever was the original owner.
But no, that's because he couldn't, like, for example, we're going off to a bit of a tangent here, but it's just like figuring out like who is what in a business, right? So that guy, it was the inventor of the car. He's obviously investing into the car, but he's not necessarily the right person to bring it to the next stage, right? So, I mean, the first car that they made was absolute shit.
Who? Tesla?
Like Tesla. The
Yeah.
initial car
Roadster?
was no before that. There was
there's
another one before that. There was,
And you know quite a bit about Tesla.
I love my Tesla. I drive a Tesla.
But what I'm trying to get at is, in terms of
Yeah.
incorporating it to this topic, is that a car is not a new invention, right?
Yeah, sure.
They put their own spin on it, right? So what I'm trying to say is that they copied a product and they made it their own, and then the brand was kind of born, right? So to say that, just to kind of wrap everything up, and to say that we copied someone else's brand is no. We didn't copy anyone else's brand. This is how our brand evolved to what it is today. Right?
I'm gonna be honest with that though. It's like I honestly had the idea, like, shit, maybe we did copy something. Let's just change the colors. Like that's crossed my mind. When the story happened.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
no, I actually got my inspiration from the Future, actually, because I actually quite like the Future, and I've mentioned this in previous episodes. The
Yeah.
Future, I like him. He's my inspiration. So I actually got a lot of my inspiration from what they're doing, and I listen to a lot of his stuff. So obviously, other people are gonna have the same idea of what I want to do, right? It's
Yeah,
not
man.
just. Anyways,
We share ideas all the time.
yeah. But anyways, I think we've beat this topic to a pulp. So let's move on.
So I had one more thing to say, like with the whole idea thing. It's like, so just to wrap it up in the sense, like, I want to say that it's okay to take inspiration.
Oh, of
it's
course.
okay to copy, but like, figure out how to evolve this idea.
Correct.
You just go for it. Like, don't be afraid. Like, someone else will say that you've copied your idea, but like, if you're really confident with the idea and you really love what you do, man, it's gonna be okay at the end of the day. It's gonna be your own thing.
Yeah, if you're a real estate videographer and you love David Miller's stuff, copy his stuff. Find your own, and then eventually find your own style, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, moving on to the next topic. You've got value to give, and you know a lot more than you think. Where are we going with this, Phuong?
Okay, so this is an interesting one because this idea came about when we had another videographer that came to visit us yesterday, and we sat down like just before the podcast, and I swear we should have started recording it because like the amount of stuff that we were talking, even young Jerome here was like talking about it. He's like, I've got shit to give. Like, this guy's noob. I want to teach him.
Jerome's been spending a little bit too much time with us lately, as you can tell. But yeah, no, I'm actually quite surprised of what Jerome learns himself with the different clients that we've been dealing with, and all the knowledge that he's been gaining himself. So yeah, look, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I do agree with you. Like, as a business owner or as a professional and expert in a certain field, you don't really realize what kind of knowledge you have until you're a person who is quite green or quite a novice in that field asks you questions, right? And then you realize that, oh my God, I've got all these answers. I'm actually know my thing.
It's really easy to get in your head and say that you're not good enough, kind of thing. It's so easy. Like, I see this all the time, and I think the way to combat it is just to have like some people to talk to and see if see where they're and help them out. And you start to know after being in the field for a couple of years that, yeah, I do know my stuff. I've been here. I learned it. Like the some of the stuff that he was saying, like for example, like pricing, right? Like, now we think about pricing. We don't really think about pricing. It's just like very customized, non-linear way to think about pricing in this field, anyways.
Correct.
But my point is that was where I was like a year ago. Like, it's funny to see like someone's journey, because you're so advanced that you look back, you're like, okay, I know exactly where it was. I know exactly how it was. But at the time, you didn't know how to get out of it because you didn't have the experience yet. You didn't have the expertise to be able to evolve, I suppose.
Well, there's a saying, and this is something I'm saying for the next episode, actually. It's your mediocrity is actually interesting to someone else. And that basically states that you as an individual, because you're living your daily life and because you're doing what you're doing and you're gathering information and knowledge, you don't actually know what you know until someone asks you certain questions, right? And they find that fascinating, right? It's like the questions that we may be asked about, videography, how you do this, how you do that, pricing, like you said, managing team, finding VAs. These are the stuff that we do on a day in, day out kind of basis, and then we don't realize that this is actually quite valuable stuff and valuable information. Other people who are looking to start their business or looking to start a team would be found valuable. So in saying that, where am I going with this?
You're renting right now.
I am renting. I seem to do that quite a bit, actually, don't I? But yeah, man, like, for example, if you want, this probably falls down to the kind of content and social media thing, is that if you want good content, sit down with a novice who doesn't know anything about your field and get them to shoot questions at you, anything that comes on top of their minds, because I can guarantee you 90% of other people out there also doesn't know the answer to those questions. So what you're able to do is, per question, chop it up into little snippets and post it up on your social media. There's content for you, right? And that's probably something that we'll be doing on a more regular basis. Is we'll probably invite more people.
Come back around to that. Like, ask the question and plaster it. Is that what you're saying?
Ask the question and plaster it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So so basically, are you looking for someone to ask the question, or are you asking the question yourself?
No, you're getting to someone else who's green to the industry to ask you questions about your industry, right? And what that does is you start putting out all this knowledge or information that you've learned yourself throughout the years of being in the profession, right? And like I said, these are the type of questions, FQ&A.
Here's a good question for you then. I have for you. So what prevents a green person from just Googling it as opposed to like looking for you to ask that question?
Good question. Well, I don't know.
I would say it's the personal aspect of being answered that question, that interaction with somebody, bouncing the ideas actually makes it stick to your brain a lot more than actually watching a YouTube
or reading
video.
it. Correct. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it won't stick to your brain if you're using a YouTube format to kind of deliver the information. But for example, I was at my jiu-jitsu gym the other day, and I was talking to our coach about social media, and I was quite surprised at all these little things that he'd know. And it made me realize that I'm actually growing and evolving in my own space because I've been doing so much research about these things. And your average Joe that doesn't spend the time. Your average Joe who isn't in the profession or isn't in the industry doesn't know this kind of stuff. So what you're able to do is, number one, you're obviously able to generate a shit ton of content for yourself. Number two, you're able to extract that knowledge from your own mind for the video or for the individual that's asking the question. So yeah, it has a lot of benefits in terms of getting someone green to talk to you about certain stuff. But yeah, man, probably something that we'll probably be doing on a more regular basis
Yeah.
in the future, kind of inviting people over to talk to us.
Gary Vee also says that if you don't have anything to talk about, document.
Yeah,
Because you're answering your own question. Obviously, you have your own question that you need to answer. So what's a better way to learn about your question than just to create some content on your question and posting that up and showing people your journey? And there's so many people that do that.
Do you know what's funny actually? Now that you just mentioned that, when I'm scripting or when I'm like planning out these episodes, and I just sit there and talk to myself and ask myself
You
questions.
crazy?
No, but you'd be quite surprised on how much you know. So as soon as I start talking, I'm like, holy crap! It's like someone asked me questions, right? So by planning this podcast, I'm able to extract certain information out that I've learned or I know, and I put it in out there, right?
A segue to that is that podcasting is one of the, if not the best method of like recording your mind down. Like I found that when I was doing, even though my last podcast didn't do too well, but just the fact of sitting down here and talking to somebody and just like really thinking about it, because like once you put the headphone on, you're in your own world. You don't think about anything.
Correct.
I mean, I don't even see young Jerome right now. Like he doesn't exist to me. But what's it called? Like just having that, even like not even listening back to it later on down the track, but you kind of start like putting your idea out there, and then eventually the idea will come back to you full circle.
That's true, because you
Yep.
forget things, right? Your
Yep.
mind is not. I always say this, but your mind is not good at storing ideas. It's very good at creating ideas, but in terms of storing ideas, you'd always lose it. So write it down. I mean, if that's through documentation, through videos, or writing it down on paper, you got to document.
Yeah.
And I guess the benefit of recording or podcasting is also that you put yourself out there and other people resonate with the type of content that you have to put out there. Either they see it as, oh yeah, I already knew that, that's cool because you reminded me of it, or they're like, oh crap, that's new information I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
pretty interesting.
Yep.
And this again falls back on the social media piece of growing an audience, because you're putting value out there, they follow you, and then eventually you got more eyeballs on you to monetize.
Would it be right that social media at the end of the day is you're creating content for your own personal? You're creating the content because you're the audience of that content. That's one of the best forms of content.
Right.
Would you say that?
I think, yeah, why not? Yeah, because whatever you find interesting, others will find interesting as well, right? Yeah, but you never know. Look, you never know. There's a ton of stuff you can do with a podcasting platform, and I think that it is definitely one of the best form of media to create a lot of content for yourself or for your socials. It may not be what you want to do for your business, but if that's not what you want, just pull out a camera and talk to yourself. Why not?
You make it sound so weird now.
Oh, look, I think I make it sound weird, and I think I make it sound easy because we do it again day in, day out, and it's so natural for us now, right? I can probably pull out a camera. I'm talking directly to a camera. I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? I want to read a script. How you doing? Yeah, stuff like that. But it's not
Good looking.
Yeah. When we first started, I can get I wasn't comfortable with it, but now that we've done it we're doing it on a regular basis. It's nothing. It's normal. It's easy, right?
I think there was one period of time I was watching a lot of YouTube, and one of the major topics that was coming was, I think it was it was when vlogging was still a new thing. Everybody was asking like, how do you feel about talking to a camera around town? Like when you just pull out a camera, just talking to yourself. Isn't that weird? Doesn't it make you look crazy in front of people?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I
We're a bit crazy in this field,
I don't
suppose.
think I'm actually quite there in terms of vlogging, in the sense that I can go on the street and pull out a camera and talk to myself. I think if it's close space, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's you're a bit loony, okay? But yeah, man, I think we're definitely off on a tangent here. And we've covered everything we wanted to cover. Have you got anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I think this was a very good episode in the sense that it lightened things up from my mind.
Yeah.
So it was good. Guys, look, if you guys enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe. Do we even do subscribe? Or is it
We're on
download?
YouTube.
We're on YouTube?
On
Okay.
YouTube, we're on all platforms.
Yeah, cool. Leave us a comment, guys. Subscribe. If you have any ideas or suggestions, please leave it there. And guys, have a good one.
Wait, not done yet. I just want to quickly put this out there that we did not copy anyone's brand. I'm just saying. But yeah, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Oh my god. Bye.